Hi, this is Aneesha from Dawgz. Welcome back. As you know, this week we are trying to do a segment on cockers. And this is Juno, the camera shy Juno. Juno, you want to say hi to the camera? Alright. Juno's here today for a basic grooming session. She also has a few ticks on her which we're going to try and see how bad the infestation is. And then we're going to do a little stick treatment in the end. To start off with, she's still a puppy, okay? Alright, do not sit down. Now, a cocker has these flop ears, and that is where they generally pick up a lot of dirt, and because they flop, then they can have a lot of infections in their ears. So we're going to clean the ears, we're going to look at her nails, and then give her a nice bath, trim down this portion of her hair, although she's got really nice fur down here, but we're going to trim this down because of her tick problem right now, and then we're going to see how best we can do this. Okay, so I have a basic ear cleaner with me, which I've got on a cotton, and some ear cleaner on a cotton bud. Now, how we want to do it is, when you start, you should always start off with the outer ear. Okay, gradually cleaning the outer ear so that the dog gets used to the ear cleaner, and then going inside. So you go as far inside as possible, not too far inside where you can't, don't force yourself. Otherwise, you may actually damage the dog's ear canal. But just whatever little you can get your hand into, and that's about it. Once you're cleaning it, you want to do whatever you can see with the earbud, the outer side, so that we can clean it thoroughly. Yes, all right, good girl. Okay, now we're going to do her nails. As you can see, she is very regular here. So her nails were cut very recently. She has black nails, and it is difficult to find the quick, but it's already very short. So what we're going to do is, we are not going to cut off too much, just the little tips, okay, and then we're going to file them. Okay, now this is a buffing tool that we have, but after we've done the nails, what we're going to do is, since the tips are a little sharp and we don't want her to go around scratching everywhere, we are going to buff the tips a little bit. Just the tips, and we're going to buff it just a little bit because they're very, very sensitive on their nails. So her nails are going to be buffed. This way she's not going to be scratching around. On a normal, when a dog normally walks around, it automatically, naturally buffs its nails. But nowadays we have all these slippery floors and everything around the house. So this process takes a little longer than required. And in the meanwhile, family members complain that the dogs, end up scratching them. So we do this as an extra little bit. Okay, now before giving her a bath, what we're going to do is, we're going to give her a nice brush down. We want to make sure all her hair is tangle-free, and because in case she has any tangles, we are not going to want to put her into a bath with those, because the knots and the mats will become bigger if they get wet. Now, what I'm using here is a very basic slicker brush. That's very good for opening up all the knots. You need to be careful to use this because they're sharp, they can hurt the dog. So the right way of using this would be to take it in your 3 fingers with your thumb on top, so that even if you want, you cannot apply too much pressure. Another way of testing whether you're applying too much pressure is to run it through on the inside of your hand, because that's how the dog is going to feel. Okay? Now, how we do it is, we take her and we go and we brush it down like this, slightly. The other way of doing it is also called line brushing, wherein we hold the fur up like this and gently we start taking the fur down this way. Okay? This ensures that the entire fur is mat-free and we do not have any mats hiding somewhere in there. Okay, now while brushing her down, we found this nasty little tick here. Now, ticks and fleas are a common problem in any dog's life, okay? Now, when we are trying to take the tick out, what you want to see is if the tick is very badly embedded, you don't want to pull it out, because sometimes what happens is the head gets remained inside the skin while you're pulling it out, and that could lead to infections and, you know. But this one here is not that badly embedded. So all I need to do is just pull it out lightly and it comes off. Okay. Now this I'm going to put into Dettol water so that it dies in there. Or okay, now Juno is mat free. We've tried to get off all the ticks that were, you know, seen otherwise. Now we're going to give her a bath and dry her, and then we're going to look at getting all this excess fur off her. Okay. So, come on, let's go. The first thing that I want to do is secure the dog, because this is an unknown place for her, although she comes very regularly, but just in case. Okay. So I'm going to secure her. The next thing I'm going to do is set the water. Now, dog temperature, body temperature is normally more than what our body temperature is. So something that will seem warm to our hands will actually be normal for them. So we want to have water that is lukewarm for us, which will be okay for their temperature. Since it's really hot outside, the water is lukewarm right now, so we can go ahead and use this itself. The correct way of dousing the dog down with water is to first let a little bit of water go and then gradually build it in. Yes, Tina, don't you know that? You need to wet the dog down completely so that she is wet right down to her skin, and then we get down to shampooing her. Okay. So now the shampoo that we are using on her is a puppy formula. For the body, we are going to be using that, and for the face, we are going to be using a tearless formula. Okay. Now, when you're doing a dog, the first thing you need to do is do the body. Okay. Have it nicely lathered up. Okay. Depends on the shampoo also as to how much of lather you're going to be getting. And once the body is done, you want to do the face. The face you want to do last, and you want to wash it off first. Okay. Now be sure that you do not get any water into the dog's ears. For that, what you need to do is, this portion here, if you were to press it down, it closes the ear canal. So when you hold the dog's ear, you press it from inside like this, and then you work on the ear, on the outside as well as on the inside. You can work on the dog, but be sure to cover the dog's ears completely while you're doing it. Also, another thing is that when you are going to be doing the face, okay, have your hands clean, okay, and you want to be working on the dog, on this side of the dog's face. When you're working on this side of the dog's face, you want to cover the nose, nostril of this side with your thumb, so that the shampoo and water doesn't flow in. You work on this side of the dog's face. Then you turn it around, cover this nostril, and work on this side of the dog's face again. Come, Juno. Good girl. Okay, good girl. After you've done with this, you want to wash off the face first, and then you want to, and especially around the, come on, Juno. Come on, good girl. You want to wash off the muzzle first, and then you want to, come on, do the rest of the body, because you don't want her to be eating shampoo. So you cover the dog's nose, and then you take off this thing, shampoo. Similarly, when you're washing off the ears, you close the ears and you take off the shampoo. You use the water on the ears and towards the outside. Okay, now Juno is almost pretty clean. The only thing that I want to ensure is that there is no shampoo or conditioner left on her, because that could lead to skin infection. Okay. Now, one way of really being able to test whether you got all the shampoo out is after you've done washing them, just squeeze a little bit of water and see. If there is no bubbles, means she's clean. If there were bubbles here, means you have shampoo and conditioner left in it. So that's one way of testing whether you've got it all out or not. Once you clean them up, then just wrap them up in a towel and let's take them onto the grooming table.
Cool.
Okay, so now we're going to towel dry her. Kanan's going to do that. We want to get all the excess water out and we want to nicely dry her off as much as possible with a towel. Okay? When we are blow drying her, there are two ways to do it. Actually, three ways in fact. One is to do a cage dryer, to use a cage dryer, but since we do it only by appointment, we don't use cage dryers here. The second one is to use a velocity dryer, which is what we will use on her initially, and then we finish it off with a hand dryer to just finish off the little frills on her ears and her face with a hand dryer.
Cool.
Okay, so this is a velocity dryer that I have in my hand. Now, once I switch it on, there's going to be a lot of loud noise, so I'm not going to be able to speak too much. But just to give you an info, since it is such high velocity, we never point it at one direction and keep it. I'll be moving it around really fast. What it does is it blasts the excess hair which is there inside, okay, and will dry the dog up almost 75% faster than what it would otherwise. Okay, so let me just show you a little bit of how we do it. Okay, now we're done with drying her, most of her. One of the questions that I get very often is that, you know, we want our cocker's featherings on the front of the paws to be a little more, flat on the legs. Now, one of the ways to do that is that once we have it 75% dry, we want to comb it out, brush it out nicely, and never after that blow dry this way. Always try and blow dry from the top, and that will help you to put this fur down a lot more than what it would otherwise. Okay, I'm going to be using a hand dryer for this. What I normally do is I put it on a cold setting. Okay, I do not use a warm setting because it becomes too hot for them. Okay, so the remaining of the ears and all is going to be done with a normal dryer. Okay, now Juno's owner does not want her to have a puppy cut, but they do want all this to go down a little bit more so that it's easier for them to look for the ticks. What I'm doing is I'm just using a basic number 4 blade here, and I'm going to trim it down a little so that it still has the cocker cut that we did last time, but it's not as much. Okay, so just the basic number 4 trim that I'm going to do.
And go.
Sorry.
Go.
Okay, we're done with Juno's grooming. She's ready to go home. Alright, and she's clean. We've taken out all the ticks that we could. We put frontline spot on her, and we trimmed her down. So let's hope to see her back soon. You're watching Aneesha from Dawgz. In case you like the video, please remember to click on the like button. If there's something else that you would like me to cover, do let me know. Any comments, any queries, always welcome. Thanks.